Hey everyone, Rather Incoherent here, back at the end of turn 25. We've just wrapped up a load of battles, and currently most of our armies are sitting down licking their wounds, except for this one army that is probably doomed to just be pushed away by Pontus, that's trying in vain to siege Nicomedia. The turn is all but done. All that's left is to move these spies around and see what Thrace and Dacia actually have to offer. And it looks like Thrace has more to offer than I thought, and Dacia has next to nothing, based on the fact they've lost what was once their capital. Or I believe that this was once their capital. Based on the fact that it's a minor city, that seems accurate. And I'm going to just send this merchant to go stand next to the Scythian capital to see if they're preparing for war. Because honestly, if it's going to make like less than 10 gold a turn, I'd rather spy with it poorly than try to use it to make money. But that's it for turn 25. Let's see what the Interim holds for us. And oh yes, my diplomat continues his forever trek. Okay, so nothing happened in the Interim, which is interesting, because it means, yeah, that Pontus just didn't deal with the siege, which is very good for us. We've gained popularity with the masses, but what's that actually translate to? We're at a 7 out of 10 with the masses, meanwhile the other Romans are grossly unpopular due to the fact they never conquered any land. And I'm also almost at 9 out of 10 with the Senate, which is weird, because I've only completed one Senate mission, and despite having the highest ranking with the Senate, I have the single lowest position in the Senate, and less positions than the Brutii total, who also have Pontifex Maximus. So I have no idea both how the Senate calculates its standing or what standing actually means. Because simultaneously, I shouldn't have this much standing, and if I have this much standing, I should have more positions than this. Also, we have 16,000 gold. I can actually build infrastructure this turn, which is going to be weird for me. First, let's just have this spy... I'll have this spy confirm this is still a Dacian settlement. I'll have this spy hop into town and try to open the gates. I wonder if having multiple spies in the same settlement increases my chance of getting the gates open. Gonna have my merchant continue to spy on Scythia, because that's what merchants do. Don't believe their lies, they have no interest in making money. And I do genuinely mean that, because they just don't make money. It's not a thing they do. There seems to be another Numidian army next to me. And while I want to deal with it, it does seem a little bit like a waste of my time. I'm going to send this injured unit of skirmishers to go find out where the rebel city is. It's not a rebel city. It is in fact where a family member from Numidia is hanging out. Which means that I can do something here. This is the first time all campaign that I'm going to remember that forced rollouts exist and try to execute one. Yeah, this is the classic 3 Peltast army that Numidia keeps sending out, so let's get into it. We're going to do the same thing I have been doing against this one shit army they keep sending, which is, I'm going to run my Peltas forward, they're never going to matter. The Numidian cavalry will run in on the sides to force them to skirmish away and not with their javelins, and my general will run down whoever is not getting javelins thrown at them. So, like, 4th verse, same as the first, let's go. This is just very sad. Like, there's not a thing they can do about it. I really don't think they will be amazed, I'm gonna be honest with you. We lost 2 men on account of the fact that we just ran down unarmored people with horses. Like, how impressed can you be by that? Well, I mean, actually, except for the Julii, no one in Rome's ever conquered anything, so maybe they will be impressed with any tales of conquest. Oh, right. The whole point of that was to do a forced rollout to make them retreat here, and then, because they retreated to the city, I can attack them after lifting the siege, which will cause the city to come in as reinforcements. And if I kill everyone in the city, that will take the city, because it will now be empty, I can just walk in. Unfortunately, I was too busy winning with brutal efficiency to actually do a forced rollout, so I guess I will siege this normally then. I will continue my boats downward to come give us a lift next turn once we finish it up. As I recall, over in Rhodes, we fucked up so badly that we have to spend a second turn licking our wounds. This stack, however, is back at full capacity. Going to leave behind 1 Hastati briefly to see how things are going and push this rebel back. So in terms of happiness, they are fucking furious. They are having a terrible time. So first, oh, they're already at low taxes. That is not a good start. Even after enslaving, this place has 6,000 population, so I really don't want to destroy its high-tier buildings that are giving me culture penalties. I think I should have seriously considered doing last time was probably building a shrine to Jupiter, which would give me 10% more happiness, but that's nowhere near enough. I can hire yet more mercenaries. They don't even fit in the army. So what we're going to do is we're going to hire peasants until that face changes colors, which it never did, because they're just so angry. So what I have to do for the time being is leave extra Hastati behind. And I believe that the peasants will now do the rest, but just in case they won't. Actually, no. I'm not going to send any more Hastati back. I know the peasants will do the rest. There's no way the peasants don't give more than 10% garrison. I really don't have any reason to come fight this commander, because he's never going to be a problem, and it will slow my conquest down of other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore him and go east. I went a little bit further than I planned to. I wanted to stop here. But it's fine. I'm not actually next to any enemies, so I don't have to worry about getting punished for this. And what I plan to do is build a watchtower to keep track of what's going on before I go down and declare war on the Seleucids, because, you know, they're here, and I don't have self-control. I don't see a reason not to dow literally everyone. Now, this army's wounds should be well and fully licked. Let's see how they're doing on happiness. I'm going to guess terribly. And like the other city, I probably should have built a shrine last turn. One better, I probably should have destroyed their shrine and built my own. Alright. We get started on my shrine to Jupiter. And we're going to lower their taxes, probably, I hope. They're already at low, we're going to have a problem. Okay, we're completely fine here. Unlike some people, Titus is more than willing to be a part of the Roman Empire. I'm going to move up to here, and I'm going to drop a watchtower. I don't think I'll ever need this, but I want to have it just in case. I'm going to start marching up on Campus Getae. Likewise, this army is going to start moving on the Scythian capital. And since I can attack him at this turn, I can actually try to do the forced draw out thing by sending all of my cavalry. Oh, not all of my cavalry, apparently. So I send this army to go siege the city. Actually, does this work? Because the idea is that he can't retreat into the city. But if he retreats from the other army, I think it doesn't work for me. Well, regardless, I'm going to try and see how it goes. I'm going to siege the city. Now, my understanding is that he's just going to retreat from this, because, you know, why would he ever stay and fight, and he can't get reinforcements from the city. Yeah. So now I've needlessly split my army for no reason, but I promise someday we'll be sure of how forced drawouts work and do it correctly. Oh, the gates are down. Well, let's handle that assault at the end of the turn, then. So we have 2 sieges that are happening in this turn. Good job, Spy. That was only supposed to be 1. It looks like Gaul has some conquest on its mind. We knew that was coming eventually. We're almost to the next population tier in Patavium already. And the same is true in Ariminum. Mediolanum is pretty far off, but I've realized now that I can start training peasants in Arretium and sending them to Mediolanum to actually get Mediolanum to 6,000 faster. And then once all 3 of these buildings have hit the 6,000 tier and can actually make the cohorts when the Marian Reform happens, I will start sending their peasants to Patavium to get to the Marian Reforms faster. Which, hilariously and I guess somewhat appropriately, that means the Marian Reforms are going to enable me to train a professional army in Italy with the intent of conquering Rome with it, is how it seems like that's going to time out. There's a Numidian army here of 5 units, but based on history, I think I can just take them. Before I go look at them, though, I want to see what this building looks like. Yeah, I'm just going to go siege this city. I don't see any reason to waste my time going to the army. They'll come to me. And I'm going to maintain the siege. Well, I'll build a battering ram over 2 turns that I can't use. I'm on horseback, but hey, I may as well. And I can see that in 2 turns, they're going to have to sally forth, and they will lose the city at that point. Now, my plan with this army was to send the boat back, and to send them to all get on the boat because, you know, walking across the African coastline has been more than a little bit grueling. I'm going to cancel all these peasants I tried to make in Byzantium and realize that I still need them. So I'm going to make at least 1 of them. And 1 looks like plenty. Apparently you can hire mercenary hoplites in this region, which is nice, but I don't need them just yet, so I'll avoid hiring them until next turn. Alright, so all that's left is infrastructure in these 2 sieges, so let's start off by hiring some peltas for this army and seeing how the siege actually goes. Actually, looking at this, my general is kind of terrible, and my other guy in the group just got an oracle, or has an oracle. I have no idea how long he's had it. So I'm going to try to switch the oracle over to him. So it looks like the way that the followers work is different now. Rather than dragging them from one general to the other, you click on the person you want to give followers to. and then you can go to other people and have them send their followers to them. And this number here is whether it shows up on this turn or a few turns from now. Like his faction leader is 3 turns away, so he can't get that immediately. But I can just have the Oracle in the same stack as him switch over. And now I have a 2-star general. So that will help my odds substantially. Unfortunately, this man is mostly good at influence, or rather management, but management isn't really a thing my empire does. We mostly expand, and that's about it. And this is just 2 Eastern infantry with their faction leader. Oh, poor thing. Now, this is sort of reminiscent of having to fight hoplites in a city square. So let's quickly check their stats. Okay, so I was quickly comparing armies. I just realized I don't even have Hastati in this army. I'd mostly just skirmishers. So if I try to go into the square and fight them, it's going to be a nightmare. What I need to do is I need to use my generals to draw their general out of the square. Just convince him to leave, and then fight him somewhere else. That way I can use my skirmishers to wear down their Eastern infantry. So, the strategy is fairly straightforward. Don't fight his general with his infantry. Lure his general out so that I can use my peltas to just destroy his Eastern infantry bit by bit over time. It looks like he wants to move his Eastern infantry up to defend the gate, but I've got a load of skirmishers on the other side, and it's not going to go well for him at all. So now what I want to do is actually to move my generals up to the very front. Because my plan for luring his general out is simply, like if I do it with infantry, the infantry will get caught. So my only choice is to move my general in. I'm going to use my family member, not my actual general. This guy's relatively worthless. The only good thing he had going for him was an Oracle, and I just gave it away. So what I'm trying to do is just get out of the way as fast as possible, because I expect his unit to come in after us. At which point, I'm going to lead him on a merry fucking chase around the entire city until we get back to the walls. At which point, hopefully I'll manage an ambush to be set up in some capacity. So since he hasn't done anything yet, I'm going to try to get my hoplites in. Actually, it looks like I can just run in this very tight circle here for a long time. I'm going to move these peltas over here to throw spears at anyone trying to chase. This general is going to go in last. These mercenaries are going to go in before him. And yeah, this slow walk past my peltas isn't going to go well for him. On the off chance he tries to come out the gate, I will have my phalanx down. And yeah, they're turning. They were always going to. Just had to be sure. Yeah, they've got some missiles of their own, but we have way, way more than them. This is not where they want to be. And now that the spearmen have been driven back, I'm actually just willing to charge their general. Because this is in no way like a position to fight from. As soon as it's joined for a couple of seconds, I'm going to have him pull back. I only care about getting the charge bonus and then peeling away. I don't want to stick around for this. Because he was going to charge me sooner or later, having been pelted for a while. So I'm going to tell him to go to the corner so I can't possibly forget about him. And yeah, this general of 97 is just too large for me to be charging in like that. I was being stupid. I forgot this was a faction leader and not 2 separate units. And my peltas are all already out of ammunition, which is the big reason I'm never a big fan of them. What is happening with his pathfinding? His unit appears to be splitting into 2 directions, which is a little bit terrifying. Since my plan is to run him in circles, I might be just getting captured because the guy's doing movement that's not really, you know, street legal. Alright, he should be safe to get to this next square, no problem, and continue running these people in circles, which will tire them out over the course of chasing me forever. God, this unit is just drawn out across the whole map, isn't it? Okay, so it looks like my plan has worked. And that I have my unit setting up over here, my general here. His army is... his army... Well, his general is mostly his whole army. These don't matter nearly so much. But they are strung out across the whole map chasing him at this point. I'm going to turn this phalanx around in case they try to come this way. It is the saddest little phalanx. And since he's going to be pretty tired of all this running, I'm going to have my general be charging in first. I will send these peltas in to fight if I have nothing better to do with them. Their melee attack is a 5. They're not the worst thing in the world. A lot better than peasants. And yeah, we're going to see which way he's going. Alright, I've got to charge in these units now. Man, pathfinding leaves something to be desired, doesn't it? If their general is, like, actually in the front of this somewhere, it's incredibly good for us. And not... Oh! Yep, yeah, he was all the way in the front. Alright, at this point, I will send the Peltast in to join the clusterfuck that's about to happen. Is my general also all the way in the front? Because that could quickly turn the tides of this from easy win into disastrous nightmare. Well, it looks like this is just what we're doing. Everyone except the hoplites dogpiling this nightmare. And now he flees through the hoplite, and that should kill pretty much all of them, right? Oh, it's a thing of beauty. It's not getting all of them, like, there's just too many of them for what I'm doing here, but... That 90 went down to 26 real fast. Now we need to take stock of what we actually have left. We've killed 33% of them with 15% of ours, so that's pretty good. One of my Thracians routed, which is not ideal. Let's try to get everyone back in position, though, and this needs to turn around. And I'll be back with you once I figure out what the AI is up to next. So this is the exact situation we were worried about, which is we just don't have any good way of dealing with all their shit in the middle, and we don't have any missiles left. One thing I could actually do is I could just retreat. I've killed their general. So I'd come back with more missiles at a later date, but I want to conquer it on this turn, so I'm going to start making bad decisions. The first of which is trying to see if we're able to bait out their general. So I've quickly charged in and immediately left to see how they'll react. And the answer is absolutely they will come back to fight us. And this doesn't seem like an excellent strategic decision from them by any stretch of the imagination. Oh. Unfortunately, that charge in did get my general killed, which isn't what we wanted to see. Luckily, it was only a general's bodyguard, not the actual general of this army. And we only did it for fucking 6 people. So it looks like the only way we're ever going to win this is just by going to the square and fighting. Because they're going to rout well before we actually get anything set up here. Are you kidding? This is a route you can take? This should not be a direction that units can go, dear God. Okay, unfortunately, it looks like I moved my Thracians up just enough to attract the attention of the enemy cavalry. Which basically means it's no choice but go time now. And that gets us into the awkward situation where we're trying to fight their infantry with our Peltas who have run out of bullets. I'm obviously going to be using this cavalry pretty expendably because, you know, he's got no general left. Anything that he loses doesn't actually matter because his whole unit disbands when the battle ends. And at least that handled their cavalry quite well. There are only 3 left and it shouldn't be the biggest deal in the world. Going to move. There's no such thing as intentional movement now. And the general needs to be up here to provide moral support. The phalanx needs to start pushing in from behind. Sooner rather than later, so let's break phalanx formation and start it again once we're actually in position. Okay, now that my phalanx is in position, let's move him up a little bit. And once he's in position, we'll drop the spears and start trying to get something done. Alright, phalanxes go. Get in there. And now, I'm going to get my general all the way up, and as soon as I'm in range of these units, I'm going to hit rally. Not that it matters, so what's fleeing is 2 units of cavalry. Victory is a distinct possibility from the worst units in the game previously. Not a thing I'm a fan of seeing. Well, time for my general to do his best. Because if we can get a chain route here before they actually end this square, we can win this. Alright, he needs to get out of here. No, he is getting out of here the worst possible way. He's not taking casualties doing it somehow. I wonder if having guard mode on is drastically affecting how these units are trying to do this. I don't want my general fighting these Desert Spearmen. I'm just gonna leave. Gonna peace out of here. And it does look like they're slightly more aggressively positioning now that I'm not using guard mode while I'm issuing these attack commands. So it's possible that keeping guard mode on is causing them to be a lot stickier than I remember them being. Everyone just get in there, and I know some of my units have routed, but I'm sure it will be fine. This army was extremely expendable to begin with, though the fact that I'm able to lose it doesn't mean I'm happy about losing it. And I'm very glad I gave my Oracle away before this fight, now that the man has actually died in the fight. These last few men are putting up a hell of a fight. So, losing 400 against an army of 550 isn't great, but again, faction leaders are a nightmare to deal with, so I have no qualms with that whatsoever. Oh, the population here is terrible. Well, I'm still going to exterminate it, because I don't want to be dealing with Byzantium's problems anytime soon. And it hasn't had enough people to recruit a garrison now, which is fine, because I didn't think I could hold this anyway. Because what I'm actually here to do is just destroy literally everything and leave. There was no way I was ever holding this town. Let's do a quick reality check and see if that might be untrue. I'm going to leave behind basically nobody. Drop the tax rate to low. And they're pretty angry with me. But that actually might be holdable if I left behind a real garrison. I'm going to leave behind an actual unit of mercenary peltasts, and that's enough to force them to actually siege the city if they want to take it. Meanwhile, I'm getting on this boat and leaving. Before I finish going, though, I will take some more mercenaries off your hands. Wait, what are these? Oh, these are Scythian mercenaries from across the sea. They look like Gallic mercenaries, and I was deeply confused. So this army's quality increases drastically. And in fact, its size increases so much that suddenly I'm able to fight Parthia next turn. So I'm going to come back and actually start trying to defend against this, because this looks suddenly much more doable. Oh, I got a lot of retinue for that. I got a mercenary captain. I transferred the Oracle earlier, and he upgraded to 2 commands. So he should be a 5-star general now. He's looking a lot better than he was at the start of the turn. I'm just really dumb. That's a 4-star general. He had 2. He went up by 2. How on earth could I think it's anything else? No way to lure them out. I don't have missile units to wear them down with. They have a lot of missile cavalry that I can't effectively charge and kill in a town battle. And these reinforcements are on the opposite side of the town, which, if I remember correctly, means I can't actually get to them and stop them from entering the town, which is just way too many spearmen in the town. And it also only holds out for 2 turns for some inexplicable reason. So I've settled on just sieging them out. I'm not going to be making this attack against the Thracian capital. So I've used all of my money going through Greece, building things like basic traders and dirt roads, which are shockingly not already here. I built almost all the infrastructure I can and everything on the northern area of Italy. And hopefully next turn, when I get, how much money is it going to be? Almost 13,000 gold, I won't end up spending it all on mercenaries again. And here is the capital of the Numidians. Let's go make zero income per turn. Alright, let's get on the elephants, I guess. Here we're making a blistering 0 gold per turn. I'm going to have to look up how the hell merchants work, aren't I? Because I clearly can't figure it out by using them. Now, this is going to be the end of the video with this turn, but I am going to end turn and see if any of my armies get attacked in the interim, because that seems very likely for once. And if I do get attacked in the interim, we'll be ending on a cliffhanger instead of a turn start. No, actually nobody attacked me. Not Pontus, not Numidia, not Thrace. Everyone's just going to let me do what I'm doing. I've got a candidate for adoption. Batavium has finally expanded, so I'm just going to queue that up so I can't forget about it. Marcus Julius came of age, and he's in Nicomedia. That's good for me, but bad for him. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save the game before I end the video and check how candidate for adoption works. So I know if I accept him, he'll immediately work. If I just change my faction capital and then accept him, Oh, hey, he makes it. So changing my capital is not enough to get him to die. That's good. So who do I just adopt? A 1-star commander like you do. In terms of diplomacy, Spain and Gaul are at war, Britannia and Scythia are allies, and Egypt has passed me as the most advanced again, and there's some end-of-turn stuff getting recorded. But that's going to be it for this time. This has been rather Incoherent. I hope you liked the video, and if you have, then please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And I'll see you around.